Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to be making some pasta sauce today, and I am going to drag you along with me. So here I got all of my red tomatoes that are ready, and I have them in a clean sink. I just scrubbed the sink, I put a plug in the bottom, and I'm just taking all the, whatever these are called, I call them heads, taking all the heads off and getting ready to put some hot water in here. So I got hot water on the stove, getting it to a boil, and then I'm going to dump it over these guys and let it sit, and that'll make it super easy for these skins to come off. Some of these are in kind of rough shape, but it's not that big of a deal. Once I get the skins off, I'll just cut off the bad part, and it'll be fine. Alright, so I just dumped my boiling hot water in here. Some of them are floating, you'll see. That's okay, just add enough water to cover them up, all of them at least. You can also fill up the other side if you have more tomatoes, or do double batches, whatever works for you. You're going to let them sit in this hot water until their skin starts to wrinkle, and you'll just be able to barely pinch it and the skin will come off, and I'll show you what that looks like. So while we have the tomatoes sitting in the hot water, I washed some peppers. These are Jimmy Nardello peppers out of my garden. They are commonly used in spaghetti sauces, pasta sauces. They look spicy, but they're really, really sweet. They're really delicious. This is a Jimmy Nardello as well. It just hasn't quite ripened. These are bell peppers out of my garden that I'm going to throw in it. Onion and garlic. These are not out of my garden. We're going to go ahead and dice these all up and saute them in a pan with a little bit of oil. I forgot to mention that this is just what I do. You guys can follow any recipe that you want. I don't really have a set recipe. I love to be creative with my pasta sauce. So like some recipes only call for a half onion, or they don't call for bell peppers, they don't call for Jimmy Nardellos. You know, you can't really just go buy Jimmy Nardellos in the store, they don't have them. So get creative. You guys can add as much onion, as much garlic, as much peppers, whatever you want to this. This is just be creative, and you can always change it if you don't like the taste. So this is how I'm cutting up my onion. I'm just rough cutting it up, and I'm going to saute it. I plan on putting mine in my Ninja food blender and making it a puree because I don't like chunks. These kind of gross me out. But if you want the chunks whole in your sauce, that is perfectly fine. Just cut them whatever size you want. It does not matter. So here's how I did some of my peppers. You guys can leave your pepper seeds in it if you really want to. Since these aren't spicy peppers, the seeds don't really add any flavor to it. If anything, they might add a little bit of bitterness, so I'm taking out all of my seeds and all of those, you know, this stuff right here out. I just want just the pepper. So this is what my peppers look like. Alright, so this is my onion, my garlic, and all my peppers mixed together. I did about 10 garlic cloves. You can always add more. We love garlic, and I still have a ton of garlic left if I want to add more. I'll just taste it after I mix all this together with the tomatoes and everything, and see if I want to add more. You can always add more later. One thing that I wanted to stress about sauteing these, you don't have to do this, but I just love the flavor that it gives. But I'm sauteing it with a little bit of oil. I haven't added it yet. Do not use butter. If you plan on canning, you cannot use butter. Otherwise, you know, a week into your canning, everything's going to be rancid. You can't can dairy products. If you do want to use butter, then just freeze your sauce. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, let's come over here and check on our tomatoes. Let's see what they look like. See how the skin wrinkles like that? That should be about perfect. See if I can set you guys up here to show you how easily this skin comes off. Look how easy that is. Just comes right off. I'm going to be saving my skins because I like to dry them out and then turn them into tomato bouillon, and it is so good. I just grind it up into a fine powder, and it is one of the best seasonings. So I'm going to go ahead and knock the rest of these out. As I'm doing this, I'm just going to put them directly into my Ninja. That way I can blend them up. Alright guys, I got a full container, so I just went and blended it. Some people core their tomatoes, or they have a fancy processor that takes the skin and the seeds out of it for them. I don't. And I don't really mind the seeds, so I just leave them, but you're more than welcome to do that if that's what you have. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into my pot here, and then finish up the rest of these. Alright, so we got all the tomatoes blended up. I just have this sitting here on low while I'm gonna saute all these. So while those are sauteing, I'm gonna go ahead and pick my basil plant naked. Alright, this is looking pretty good for me. They're getting kind of translucent, a little bit of browning on them. Here is all the basil that I picked, and I'm just gonna throw that in there. Stir it in. Sorry for the shaky camera. Stir it in, and then I'm gonna shove this in my Ninja blender and puree it. Alright, so this is what she looks like. I had to put a little bit of the tomato sauce in it to get it to puree, because there wasn't enough fluid in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got that in my sauce, and I'm gonna go ahead and add some more seasonings. I got some oregano because I don't have any fresh, some Italian seasonings, black pepper, some parsley from my garden that's dried, and then I'm probably gonna add a little bit of salt, and then a little bit of sugar to taste. Alright, so I got everything mixed together here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it into my crock pot, and I'm gonna cook it on high for a couple hours. This needs to reduce to about half its size and get out a lot of that water and thicken up. I'm going to taste it periodically and decide if I want to add any more seasonings, and so on. Once I put it in here, I'm also going to be adding a bay leaf for it to cook down with. Alright, so I got my bay leaf. I'll put that in there. I'm going to let this cook down, and I'll check back in a couple hours. You can definitely cook this down on your stove if you want to. I just have the twins are ready to get up from their nap, so this is more hands-off for me. Alright guys, it's the next day. I cooked this sauce in my crock pot from about 3 p.m. to about 8 o'clock at night with the lid just halfway on high, and that cooked it down, and it is so nice and thick. I got well, not all the water, but as much as I wanted out. It's perfect consistency, and I did not feel like canning it last night, so I just shoved it in a container, threw it in the fridge, and I'm gonna go ahead and reheat it and just can it. So here I got my 5 jars, which is what can fit in my water bath. Whenever we reheat it, we also need to add some lemon juice to it, but I will show you that whenever we get there. I'm going to go ahead and pop these lids and rings off and get these in the oven sterilizing and get this on the stove. Alright guys, we got our jars in the oven getting sterilized. We got this heating up, which I tasted, and it is heavenly. It is so good. I hope that if you guys make this, it turns out as good as this. I have my lids getting hot and sterilized, and I got my water bather with some water in it heating up. We're gonna go ahead and set this for 55 minutes. If you are at a altitude 3,000 and below, you can just process it for 40 minutes, but because I'm above, I need to do it for 55 minutes. So let's see if I can find the setting. There we go. So we're gonna get that boiling and get this heating up, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, we're ready to can. I got all my canning supplies out. I have my lemon juice ready. So I'm canning mine in pints. So for each pint, I'm gonna put 1 tablespoon of lemon juice in it. If you're doing quarts, then you need to do 2 tablespoons. Alright, I'm gonna set you guys up here. Alright, I'm going to grab a jar out of the oven. Alright, I'm going to add my 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. You can also use citric acid if you'd like, or if you don't have lemon juice on hand but have citric acid. This is one of the recipes that you can use it interchangeably. So whenever we're filling this up, remember to leave 1-inch headspace. And that lemon juice doesn't really alter the flavor that much at all. It's just to make it more acidic so that it's safe to can with water bath. You can also pressure can this, but I don't really care to pressure can anything that I can water bath. Alright, we got our inch of headspace there. Let me grab a paper towel. Paper towel in your hot boiling water. Wipe off the rim. Grab a lid and ring. Put that on there. Tighten her up. I'm gonna throw this in the water bath and finish up the rest, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I got all 5 pints in here and I got the water over top the jars. It's perfect. We're gonna put the lid on this and let it process for 55 minutes. If you guys do quarts, it's the same time. I'm processing these at quart times because the recipe that I'm following for a roasted garlic pasta sauce only gives directions in quarts. So it's always safer to process for the higher time rather than take a guess at a lower time. This is all that I have left, so I'm just going to save that in a little dish probably, and if I have one that doesn't seal, then I can just add it to that and we can eat it tomorrow. Alright guys, the timer's up. I released the pressure. Here they are. Let's take them out. Get them over on a towel here. Let me take out the rest of them and I'll be right back. Alright, these look wonderful. We're gonna wait. We're gonna give them about 2 hours to pop and seal. If they don't pop and seal within 2 hours, I'm gonna just put it in the fridge. And you can always reprocess it, but we love spaghetti, so we'll probably just eat it if none of them seal. But that's it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys saw my last spaghetti sauce that I made, it's a lot more red than this. This is a different recipe, and I think, you know, depending on what type of tomatoes you use, it really does change the color a lot. Enjoy!